For the land of the free and the home of the brave, I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the tall, took a bullet for all. Didn't flinch, didn't run, still they answer the call. And we say, be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Daniel Show. Be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Daniel Show.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen and ladies? Welcome back to the Officer Tatum Show. All right, let's talk about a few things. We normally, I said this last time, I just want people to know we're trying different times to go live to see how people are going to react to it. We started late, but we're going to start doing it a little bit earlier because it's better for my family. And you guys can always watch it later if you want to. I want to start the show off by talking about this potential World War III that could occur in Russia and Ukraine. I don't want to say this is true, but sometimes I think it could be true that the current administration is trying to sabotage Donald Trump before he ever gets into office. There have been talks between Donald Trump and Zelensky for them to have a ceasefire situation. When I say ceasefire, I mean in the war. Donald Trump is willing to talk to Vladimir Putin. It seems like they're getting somewhere. And then now tensions are escalating, and Ukraine is now using U.S. Missile systems that are long range that can hit deep into Russia at a military site, which is causing Russia to want to react. And Vladimir Putin has changed his doctrine on when they can use nuclear weaponry, nuclear force against a nation that's encroaching on them. And we could see World War III happen. Now, I'm hoping that they come to their senses and not get into a peeing match and end up getting into World War III, drag us into it before Donald Trump can get into office. Because if Donald Trump gets into office, I'm almost confident Donald Trump will resolve this. And I'm hoping that they can just hold off for a minute until we get a grown-up in office where we can negotiate and make things right by everybody. I think there's a solution to this problem, and I don't think the Democrats have the solution. Unfortunately, I think they're trying to escalate to either one, and I don't know if this can necessarily happen. I just hear rumors of this happening. To one, create martial law because we're in war, and therefore the transfer of power is probably not going to occur if we're actually in a war situation. I don't know that to be true. I'm just saying what I'm hearing on the streets. And then another idea is that they get Donald Trump in so much turmoil that his entire administration is fighting a world war. And when the economy take a dump and we're in another war and then there's an illness that comes through that plague the nation, then they're going to be wanting to vote for a Democrat next time. And I'm afraid that that's what they're attempting to do. We have a news clip about this particular situation, and I want to put that on the screen now. Roll it.
This is video from a previous situation, not the one that we are about to discuss here, but we did just learn from the Associated Press that Ukraine fired 6 U.S.-made missiles here at Russia's Bryansk region. Russia's defense ministry just releasing that information days after U.S. President Biden eased those restrictions on Ukrainian use of American-made weapons in the war that is now marking its 1,000th day. Ukraine claimed it hit a military weapons depot there in the middle of the night, though it didn't specify what weapons it actually used. The Ukrainian General Staff said that multiple explosions and detonations were heard in that targeted area. And in a statement carried by Russian news agencies, the Russian Defense Ministry said the military shot down 5 of those Army tactical missile systems and damaged another. The fragments fell on the territory of an unspecified military facility. That's again according to Russia's ministry. The falling debris sparking a fire, but did not inflict any danger or any casualties. Neither side's claims could be independently verified by the Associated Press. The announcement came after Biden did authorize Ukraine to use those U.S.-supplied missiles to strike deeper inside Russia, easing limitations on the longer-range weapons after Russia deployed thousands of North Korean troops in the conflict. Earlier on Tuesday, Ukrainian officials reported a third Russian strike in 3 days on a civilian residential area in Ukraine that killed at least 12 people. That includes a child. The strike by a drone in a region there late Monday hit a dormitory of an educational facility and wounded 11 other people, including 2 children, adding that more people could be trapped under the rubble. Ukrainian civilians have repeatedly been clobbered by Russian drones and missiles during this war, while on the battlefield it's under severe Russian pressure at places on about a 600-mile front line where its army is stretched thin against a bigger adversary. So again, we have now learned from the Russian ministry that Ukraine did fire 6 of those U.S.-made long-range missiles in Russia, and that's again according to the defense ministry. So as we get more information on that, we'll make sure to bring it to you right here on Live Now from Fox. Also important to note that today does mark 1,000 days of war for Ukraine. We did hear from President Zelensky a bit earlier on in the morning, and we'll play that out for you again a bit later on today.
So this is one thing I don't understand. I probably need to do more research. I don't understand why we're even involved in this in the first place. I don't necessarily believe that Ukraine is that much of a American asset in the region as people appear to be making it out to be. I could be totally wrong. I don't think that we should have done as much as we've done in Ukraine. I just don't see the purpose there. I don't see the relationship other than the fact that Joe Biden was making money out there in Ukraine, and so was Hunter Biden, snorting coke off prostitutes and living his best life working for Ukrainian energy company, Burisma, which he can speak the language and had no formal knowledge or resume to get him on the board making millions of dollars a year. I mean, outside of the conflict of interest in Russia and Ukraine, I don't understand why we are participating in helping them whatsoever. I could be wrong, but hundreds of billions of dollars that we're giving to Ukraine is absolutely incensing to me. And I don't know why we continue to do it. Let me get to another story that I think is absolutely mind-blowing to me, and that's the story of Pete Hegseth and these accusations against him. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it appears that women are using the power of the P to destroy people's careers. It is often entertaining to me, yet saddening, that when a person gets in a position of power and authority, that person has to worry about a random woman that they may or may not have slept with coming out and disparaging their name and making accusations against them. I said this 100 years ago when I was a cop. I rarely got women who told the truth. And the women who were abused, they never call. And so as a cop, and if you're a police officer, you're in the comment section, respond to this. Am I tripping? Was it just my agency? Am I the only one? I felt as if the women who were actually abused, I wish that they would have come forward. They had evidence. They're telling a truthful story. We could actually bring justice for them. But they don't say anything. They hide it. They're ashamed. And then the ones who get caught cheating on their husbands and getting caught doing stuff they're not supposed to, they're the first ones that will make a police report. The ones who get drunk and then they regret what they did the night before, they're the first ones to make a police report as fast as Sonic the Hedgehog. And they know they made it up. Let me say one quick story, and then I'm going to get to Pete Hegseth's clip. Or at least Megyn Kelly did a good synopsis on the accusations that this woman had made against Pete Hegseth. And you're going to see how terrible of a woman I think she is based on the information that's presented. And I'm not giving Pete a pass, all right? But this definitely sounds like a lie. And I never forget one of my classmates when I played football at the University of Arizona, Jonathan Turner, had no business sleeping with this girl, but this girl was getting around the whole team. And he wanted to be number 15 for some reason. And he sleeps with this girl. She claims that he took advantage of her without consent. Y'all know what I'm talking about. He was innocent. He got kicked off the football team. He got kicked out of school indefinitely. And then when they went to trial, obviously she was lying. She had made it up. She lied. There was male specimen that was found on her, in her, of other guys in the same night. And I think another guy was on our team. I mean, the woman was bad off. Made up a whole lot, ruined this boy's entire life. Now let's go to Pete Hegseth's clip, or at least Megyn Kelly's description of the accusations made by the complainant, or you could say the person who's claiming to be a victim. Let's roll this clip, and we're going to talk about it. Roll it.
Washington Post drops this exclusive about an alleged sexual assault, or rape, and they're very excited about this piece against Pete Hegseth. Let me just start with a lead. The police investigated. No charges were ever brought. Pete has denied it. And the woman came back asking for cash. And she was married, and I believe is still married at the time she had this sexual encounter with Pete, which now she claims was non-consensual. And he says exactly the opposite, that that's not true. But here are the facts as alleged. So what's happened is a friend of the woman went to the Trump transition team, according to WAPO, and presented them with a memo detailing these alleged claims by her friend against Pete. And then Pete's lawyer, and then the memo got leaked to the Washington Post. And now Pete's lawyer has gone on the record with the Washington Post to offer his side of the story. It boils down to the following. They say, Glenn, that in 2017, October 7th, 2017, he was asked to go out to Monterey, California, and to speak with a group of conservative women, and that he did so, and after the fact was having drinks in the bar. They claim he had a couple of women there.
Hold on one second. I'm going to let her finish because it gets juicier. No pun intended. I laugh at my own jokes. But anyway, it gets crazier. This is one thing that I never do as a public speaker, as a conservative speaker. I've spoken at women's events. I've spoken at Turning Point USA events. I've spoken at all kinds of stuff. I do not participate with attendees or anybody else at a bar while I'm there on official business duties. I go back to my hotel room. I don't want nobody accusing me of nothing. I'm not drinking with you. I'm not hanging out with you. I want nothing to do with people. There has been times where I hung out with all the students because we went out to eat after the event. My support of the chapter. I'll go out to eat with everybody, but we're not finna go drinking, and I'm not hanging out with nobody. That's a no-no, because then they try to put you in this situation. Roll the clip.
Toward the end of their night of drinking, and they allegedly texted his handler, who was part of the conservative women's group, that he was getting sort of pushy in his request that they go back to his room with him. At the time, the Post reports he was between marriages. He's on his third marriage, and he was, I think, between number one and number two. Anyway, the point is he wasn't cheating at this point. They say that this young handler came to the bar to sort of collect him as though he were her charge. I mean, he's 44 now. This was 7 years ago, so he was a grown man still. I don't know how to do the math, 37. But apparently believed to need an escort back to his room. Anyway, this woman comes back. Now, this woman you should know, who works for the California Federation of Republican Women, also had her husband and children in the hotel in a different room with whom she was staying. Her husband and her children. So they allege that she then took Pete Hegseth back to his room. There is videotape, according to Hegseth's lawyer, showing them arm in arm on the way to his room with the woman smiling and Hegseth drunk. Apparently, the reports are that he was visibly drunk.
Hold on. Let's get to this. I have an assistant, and my personal assistant, executive assistant, is a woman. She does not travel with me, and she will never be taking me back to my room anywhere. I don't care how drunk I am. Call 911. You ain't coming to my room with me. And it's not that I don't trust her. She's a very loyal girl, Christian girl. But I'm a married man. I have nothing to do with and what I'm saying is that as a woman who's married with your kids and husband at a hotel room, a drunk man why would you let your wife escort a drunk man somewhere? You would think that you'll say, hey, I'm going to send my husband down to try to help this man get to his room. Why would your wife be trying to help subdue or take a drunk man to his room? That just don't make any sense. As a man, my wife ever told me something like that, I'm like, you ain't finna take no grown man to. What if he try to do something? The thing is that as a husband, you got to protect your wife. What if the dude does try to physically assault her because he's drunk? And you just like, oh yeah, you can handle it. I'm just gonna stay here with the kids. I mean, I would never let my wife go take some dude to the hotel by himself at night when he's drunk. And he already, quote unquote, being pushy towards other women. Did that make sense to y'all? He's being pushy towards other women. She's going to leave her husband and her kids in the room to go take this man to his room. She don't know him. All right, roll the clip.
She got him away from these other two women. They left. And then she was allegedly seen on the videotape delivering him to his room. She definitely went into the room with him. And the two agree that a sexual encounter took place. Whether it was consensual, they don't agree. This is from the Washington Post. This accuser did not remember anything until she was in Hegseth's hotel room and then stumbling to find her hotel room. So she blacked out the whole night. Her memo says her memory of 6 to 9 hours, quote, was very hazy, and that her husband was...
Ain't no way this woman telling the truth. Explain this to me. She's supposed to be the handler, and I could be missing stuff. I'm not reading the case report. I'm just going off the reports from Megyn Kelly that was in the Washington Post. So apparently she's with her husband and kids at the hotel room. How is she blacked out? And she remembers when she gets to the room. 8 hours or 9 hours of her time are hazy. How? Are you supposed to be drunk too? So let's get this right. You drunk. And you leave your family to go get another drunk man and take him back to his hotel room. And conveniently enough, you're hazy. Roll the clip.
Was searching for her, I'll bet, and was relieved when she finally showed up. The following day, the woman returned home and, quote, had a hazy memory of being raped the night before and had a panic attack. She then went to the emergency room, they allege in this memo of hers, where she received a rape kit examination that was positive for semen. She gave county authorities a statement about what happened. They initiated an investigation. The police did. No charges were filed. And they say that there was no evidence that contact was non-consensual. According to Pete's lawyer, the medical examination of the woman produced no evidence that the sexual encounter was non-consensual, and a police investigation found no evidence to support charging Hegseth. The lawyer says the woman was the aggressor, not Hegseth. I will point out on the subject of whether there are injuries, Gabe Sherman, I know, but Gabe Sherman, for what it's worth, is reporting that he has seen the police report and that it alleges a bruise on her thigh. But
all right,
let me
get to it. I'll finish what Megyn Kelly is saying. She goes on to say and articulate that obviously Pete was not arrested. As a former police officer, I know what the threshold is to arrest somebody, because you don't have to have evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. You just have to have probable cause to believe. That means a reasonable person will believe this person committed the crime. If this woman is making accusations against him and she's claiming all this stuff, she goes and gets a kit done, and then the kit comes back with results. And when results come back, you arrest people. Unless the results don't come back and indicate what you said it did. Because if you got a hazy memory, how all of a sudden, conveniently enough, you blacked out and you don't remember what's going on? And you had it's clearly that she had no drugs in her system. She had no items of impairment in her system. Enough to believe that she was roofied or anything of that nature. So she have not made a claim that somehow he put something in her drink and that's why she was hazy, or that anybody put something in her drink. I don't know a person that said the hotel room with their husband and family and they so drunk they black out and take a man to the hotel room. It's not mathing. And normally when you do the assault kit, they determine if there's tears and different things like that that would indicate force, meaning that that it was forced on a person, not that the person had got worked up enough that it was a smooth transition, if you know what I'm saying, versus a person forcing it, that it leaves certain evidentiary markers that an investigator could look at and say, okay, these are the results of this thing. This guy, more than likely, or a reasonable person would believe with this evidence that he did it. But they did an investigation, and they determined that there was no evidence that it was a forced situation. There was no obviously intoxicants in her system that would allude to the fact that she was drugged in any way or any kind, any sort. I don't even know if she made the accusation that she had some in her system. It clearly did not show up. That's why they didn't charge him. And nowadays, they'll charge you, the mere accusation of it, they charge men on this stuff. There had to be overwhelming evidence to believe that it was nothing there. So then the lady continues to pressure and go to the media and all this other stuff, and Pete Hegseth ended up settling financially with her out of court. Now, I got to get on Pete for a minute, just for a second, because this is why you don't poop where you sleep at, or whatever you want to call it. That you don't play where you're sleeping at. You go to an event, you don't talk to these women at the event. Get their number and catch up with them another time or something. You ain't finna do that at the event where you're there to speak. And that's why you also, even if you got an opportunity because you're a good looking man and you're rich, you got an opportunity to take the little nasty one to your hotel room. You don't do it. Because when her husband finds out, all of a sudden you done something wrong. And allegedly, Pete said or made mention that she said she was going to tell her husband that she fell asleep on another staff member's couch. Therefore, she would know. But then when he went looking for her, because he knew what she was doing, he ain't stupid. He knew what she was doing, and to humiliate her and to get restitution on his behalf, he made her go through this whole process, knowing that it was foolish. I love my wife, but my wife ain't finna play me like that. You're not finna tell me that somehow you blacked out and you cheated, and I'm done with you. And you better go find somewhere else to live, because you ain't finna live up in here. But to go back to the moral of the story is that it is asinine to me that women continue to make these false claims. I believe, based on the information that's presented, that this is a false claim. This is a woman who got jiggy with Hegseth. I hate the way his name. He need another name. That she didn't got jiggy with the guy. Maybe she was intoxicated. And then oh crap, my husband and family, I forgot about them. I was looking at the vitamin D and forgot about my family. And now that I'm on the spot, I got to make these accusations to save my marriage. I got to just make up something. People lie for much less. Women continue to do this. That's why that Me Too movement stuff is full of bull shenanigans. I think every woman should be heard. I think every woman should be heard. You come out, make the accusation. What's your evidence? Tell us your story. Because if a man did you like that, he need to be under the jail. We can hear you, but you can't just believe him. You don't believe no evidence. I hear you, sis. You said this happened to you. I hear you. But you got to have some evidence. And I didn't see the comment section, but police officers, if you are in the comment section, tell me if I'm tripping. When I was a cop, I only had 2 situations that were legitimate out of the entire time I was a police officer. And I probably took about 15 of these, and I only had about 2 of them that were legitimate. One was a legitimate assault without consent, penetration, and all that stuff. And the other one was a groping situation where the guy grabbed her. He was an Uber driver. And that dude had to be the dumbest criminal on planet Earth. And right away, police officers can sense, based on a person's reactions, if they're honest with this situation or not. And I could tell you several horror stories. I'll give you the 2 real ones. One was a lady, she was driving an Uber driver. And the funny thing is, it's not fun. Well, the funny thing is, before this situation happened, was that she was going through my division and almost T-boned me in the intersection. And I pulled her over and I ripped her a new one, to be honest. I was fair about it, but I was like, ma'am, you ran a stop. You almost killed me. I got a family and everything. So I got on her case. A month later, this happens to her. She lives on the east side of town, which is like 30 or 40 minutes from my division. She literally made the report and said, I only trust one officer. I don't want to talk to anybody else. I only trust one officer. I want to talk to that officer that pulled me over the other day, Officer Tatum. She drove 40 minutes to my division for me to take her assault case report. And I thought it was kind of something because I got on her case, but maybe she knew how, real I was and that I was being genuine and I didn't give her a ticket for almost T-boning me in the intersection. But I took her case and it was real. And the dummy said he worked for Tucson Police Department. And so she thought he may have been a cop. Come to find out the fool worked for the city or he worked for the state, something like that. The fool got a federal, he got a job that's in the government. I forget which one it was. I don't know if it was state level or federal level. The fool had her take him to his house. He had an Uber account. And all the police did is check the utilities of the house and it matched him and boom, they caught him up. And the fool actually worked for the government. I'm glad he got in trouble. The other one was one that was a little more mysterious because the lady was a meth head, right? She coming out the house scratching and she said, he did this to me. And at first, it was skepticism, right? Like she's looked like she's high as a kite. But then when you go into the house, we're trained to see signs and symptoms of people who have been abused. Like you never take the person back to the room that they've been abused in. And so when we go back into the house, I mean, she got crazy. She was just like, ah, when she was walking near the room that it occurred in. So that was an indication that, oh man, something didn't happen to this woman. Come to find out, her story lined up 100%. And we arrested that fool, and he had a knife on him, and he was a convicted felon already. He went to prison for a long time. But then I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you just a one. See, somebody said that too. Look at this. A cop, Darren said, cop here, few are legit, mostly drug users, upset a man didn't pay for prostitution, but they never tell you that. Look, here go one that y'all going to find entertaining. I wasn't on the call, but I heard the call come out over the radio. I wish I'd gone to it. It was a call of a assault, and then someone got stabbed, right? Let's talk about it. This girl lives in the guest house. The man she's cheating on live in the second story. This girl, when her boyfriend left, she climbed on the roof and climbed up to the guy's room. And she was in the midst of cheating. Boyfriend comes home, catches him. She's screaming, you know what I'm saying? He's taking me, he's taking me, he's taking me. And so the boyfriend gets a knife to defend his girlfriend. Homeboy put his hand up, cut his finger off. Cut the guy's finger off. So we getting ready to arrest the person who's doing the abusing, allegedly. And we got the other guy detained because he cut the other guy's finger off. After talking to investigators, she ended up admitting that it never happened. She was cheating. So this woman then climbed on the roof, cheated, got the dude's finger cut off because a boyfriend caught her. We used to get a lot of calls from minors. Minors would go out, they would do things they weren't supposed to do. They get burned, or they believe they're pregnant, so they need the plan B. And when you go get the kit, they give you a plan B and they give you a assault kit and they treat you for STDs. So what these young women would do is they would do. When the scary situation happened, they make the claim so they can go get free treatment at the hospital to get the plan B and everything else. But then the parent is unsuspecting because now the kid is a victim and the kid wasn't out there messing around, right? That's what they tell the parents. But we know and we find out because once we question them, they give us zero information. Who was the guy? Where did it happen? And their story is all completely contradictory. And we know they're full of crap. And some of them do it and they don't know that the hospital has a duty to report. So they make the accusations and make the claims. And then when they get to the hospital, they have to report to the police officers that this crime happened. But the person wasn't expecting them to do it because they were just going to lie to them to get the kid in the plan B. But then we have to come to the scene and then they refuse to talk to us. Or the girl one of the cases that I had or I was familiar with was a girl that got in, she woke up with her panties off and she claimed that something happened to her and she blacked out and didn't remember. It's like, no, that just sound like you regret it. That just sound like you were drunk. How do we know he wasn't drunk? How do we know he remember? And this blackout thing, I don't know how they do it in the court of law if it actually go to trial. Do they really do scientific research on whether or not you had a blackout legitimately or not? Because I will never forget, I was in college and I had this girl. I didn't really like her. She liked me, but I liked dancing. And back then I wasn't saved. So they put the music on. I'm dancing out on the couch like I'm a stripper. I don't live that life no more, okay? So little girl I like, I was trying to impress her a little bit. Did the little pretty Ricky on the couch. And I'm like, took my shirt off, did all this old stuff. We at a party, right? Everybody having fun. She talking to this person, talking to this person. We all having fun. We talking the whole night. The next morning, this girl wake up and say she don't remember none of that. She blacked out. Now, I didn't do anything. Everybody's dancing with everybody, so it's not like it's me and her. But for me, I was like, what you mean? You don't remember dancing over here and dancing with this guy and the conversation we had half of the night? Were you talking and hanging and laughing and telling jokes? You was blacked out during that time? You were fully having a conversation with me and everybody else, with your friends. You were dancing. They were everybody. You had a party full of people and having a good time. You were black. You passed out. You were blacked out. That ever since that day, I realized, boy, oh boy, oh boy, you gotta lead. You can't be messing with no women like that. You better be in a relationship with that woman or something, because you get to messing with the wrong woman and she wake up and realize, oh, shoot, I didn't want to do that. Now I look like a floozy. Oh, I'm finna call. I got to make it right. I got to call the authorities and get you locked up over something silly. Anyway, enough of that. I thought that was compelling. I had to talk about that. I saw Megyn Kelly talk about it, and I'm like, this culture of Brett Kavanaugh, I mean, women got to stop this. And I think there needs to be heightened penalties. If you are found responsible, lying about someone taking advantage of you, you have to go to prison for a long time. You ruin somebody's life and reputation doing that. And it happens all the time. The lacrosse team at Duke, I mean, you go and name it. My friend Jonathan, and men, I'm going to tell you this, keep your stuff in your pants. You have don't be messing with these women like that. It ain't safe. You become a star one day, and I'm telling you, there is not one accusation that ever been posed against me. There's no woman that can ever say that I did anything. That never happened ever in the history of my life. Wait till I run for president or something, or wait till I get a permanent position. Some fool gonna come out, and I'm not gonna be quiet about it. If you come out against me and we ain't never done nothing, I'm gonna say we ain't never done nothing, and I'm gonna embarrass you. If you come out and say I did something non-consensual and I know it was consensual, I'm going to tell everybody the whole story. I'm going to tell them the text message and everything. No, this is what happened. I text her. She said she want to come over. And we did it like this and like that and like that. And whatever. And she left. And it was trash. You know what I'm saying? I smell fish when you know what I mean? She was fishy. I'm just playing. She was smelling like a sea bass. You know what I'm saying? I had to kick her out. So you want to tell them what really happened? Now, I'm not saying that really happened to me. I cannot confirm it or not if that happened to me ever when I wasn't saved. But, to be honest, come play with me. Don't let it be something that really happened. I'm gonna tell them the truth. Look. You were just everybody knew that they could text you. You were easy. You were one night stand again. Nobody trying to marry you. What you talking about? I know you were with so and so and so and so and so all on my team. You remember that? Tell them that when you making up some story about somebody messing with you. They showed the video in the locker room. You ain't got no credibility. Don't play with me. I'll tell the truth. You gonna come out and lie? Tell the truth then. Don't lie to me. You letting the boys play the football game without a helmet on. Everybody done talk about you. Get around. You on the block. Don't play with me. But anyway, I'm assuming that this will never happen to anybody. It won't happen to me. But I don't like when women do that. Just let it go. A man make it somewhere. don't be making up some lie about him abusing you. And I hate to say this because women do this a lot too. They have this phantom abuse scenario where they dated a guy and when they break up, oh, he abused me. He abused you. I was in an abusive relationship. My ex was abusive. And then you go ask them, what kind of abuse? Oh, verbal abuse. Because they got no evidence of physical. It's verbal. Well, what he told you? He told you can't go out the house with your panties showing, and he's verbally abusive to you. You want him to pay for something that he don't feel like he should be paying for, and that's financially abusive. I had one woman in my whole life, maybe two, that was honest about their ex relationships, and it's not because I asked them; it just kind of came up, and they were like, "Yeah." The one girl was like, "Yeah, I cheated on my husband, and that's why we're not together." Hey, at least you were honest. And another girl was like, the person cheated on me and I left him or whatever. But everybody else is like, come up with some phantom breakup to make the other guy look bad. Then you find out that it's like they made it all up. Anywho, let's get to some other news real quick. I want to talk about The View. The View having a complete meltdown over Bill Maher's comments about identity politics and what lost them the election. I'm often excited about the perspective of them never learning their lesson. They're sore losers. It's like playing in a football game. When you lose the game, you have to swallow that pill and go back and look at that film and find out what did we do wrong so that we can win the game. If you lose and the first thing you do is point fingers at somebody else and you feel like you don't need to watch the film because the refs cheated the game, you ain't going to never win another game. You got to go look at it. And when you go look at the film, in every situation I've ever been in football, you look at the film, you go, you know what? We should have had a shutout. You're supposed to be in the A gap. If you would have done your assignment, they would have had 0 rushing yards the whole game. You didn't do your assignment. You didn't pull. The guy pulled and you didn't get in your gap. You don't pay attention in film all week. You missed the tackle in the hole. It's just you and him. I guess he the man in the house, and you don't want to tackle today. You go back and look at the film, you say there's a whole bunch of things we could have done differently to win. Democrats should do that, but they're not. They're pointing the finger at the ref at the field goal. See, we lost by a field goal because the ref called a pass interference that never happened. It's like the game doesn't come down to a pass interference. You had all kind of stuff. You shouldn't even been close. Anyway, roll the clip.
A new article in the Wall Street Journal claims that the shift to the right in this election reveals that Americans view themselves as belonging to a particular economic class more than their race and gender. And Bill Maher said it's not the only thing Democrats got wrong. Take a look.
Someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person. What a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, if only we weren't so irredeemably unenlightened, we would have elected a black president by now. No. Oh, what, we did? Asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. They don't want your pity. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Because she didn't. Because she didn't. She didn't.
Again, I got my popcorn. I don't know why people did what they did. I see all these reasons. And so, okay, time will tell. But what do y'all think?
I just, I know that as a country, it's very difficult for people to believe that racism and misogyny, they're just alive and well. I think that we don't want to think that about ourselves, our neighbors, our friends. But it's my lived experience tells me that it does still exist, even if your lived experience doesn't.
Hold on. the American people don't want to believe that everybody that voted for Trump is sexist. I mean, half of them, 2/3 of them. I mean, what number are you putting on it? People aren't stupid. Everybody is homophobic and racist and sexist and all this stuff. Everybody. Ma'am, you're taking no accountability for y'all loss. And I'm happy. I'm happy for it because we're going to beat y'all again if you keep doing this. But the people aren't stupid enough to think that nobody cares about. People will elect a woman if y'all can put up a good one. Y'all put up y'all put up the most terrible women that could have ran for office. I don't think y'all could have gotten any worse. You picked a crook. Hillary Clinton was a crook. Them WikiLeaks, her deleting 30,000 emails. She was a crook. What do y'all she should be in jail. That's one. And then y'all put a woman that can't even articulate a policy position. She was on everybody's channel. Didn't go on Joe Rogan because she was going to get killed on there. She had all the opportunity in the world when they say, what are you going to do for the country? She couldn't even answer that one. She couldn't answer, what am I going to do for the country? How are you different than Joe Biden? What are you going to do differently than the failing administration? They literally throw it a softball. They throw it a softball. What are you going to do differently than the administration that's failing? How are you going to be a new change to a new... nothing comes to mind. Ma'am, you could have just lied. You couldn't even say nothing. Two of the worst women to ever run for office. They put them up. That's why people didn't vote for them. Will I vote for a female president? Yeah. I don't think that's the way it should go. I think men are supposed to lead, and I think good men should be in leadership positions. But when good men fail because they're wussies, then there's a woman that step up and taking charge. I'm okay with that. As long as you're gonna do what's right by the American people. I don't care what's between your legs. Do right by us. And we'll vote for you. But you can't get mad because you lose and go, it's misogyny. It's misogyny. Roll the clip.
Tell you that it exists. And, the facts support that. I think we have a graph. If you look at there's a clear racial divide in who voted for Trump as opposed to who voted for Kamala Harris. It's very clear. It's not only clear by race, but it's also clear by education. And so the notion somehow that...
Go back. I want to see that one where she was saying race. So when Lukey and Dookie and Stookie play it.
The facts support that. I think we have a graph. If you look at there's a clear racial divide in who voted for...
All right, stop right there. So you guys can kind of see this on the chart. If you look at it, there's really not a clear racial divide. The only big division is black people. I'm in the way. The only big division is black people. I want y'all to... Oh, y'all can't see that. I can see it big because it's on the TV. Listen, I want y'all to understand this. The only clear divide is black folks. Other is 54%. That's not a big, that's 4% from 50-50. Hispanics, 54%. That's 4% from 50-50. Asians, 54. Hispanics was 52. Asians is 54. That's 4 percentage points from 50-50. White men, thank you, white men. And thank you, whites. We love you. Thank you, Nick. I want to thank you for your service to this country, for voting for Trump. Because if it wasn't for y'all, we'd be in hell. So 57%, that's just 7 percentage points from the middle. So if you look at the other, what is other? I don't know. Somebody just don't want to pick. I don't know. They're pretty competitive. This can swing either way depending on the election. Asian can swing either way depending on the election. Hispanic can swing any way put on an election. And whites can swing. Black people are the only ones that's this silly. 85%. It's clear that black people are struggling. Everybody else is balanced. Everybody else is like, maybe this time we like these people, this time we like other people. Black people are the only ones. 85%. Black people almost voted for Democrats as much as 2 different racial categories voted for Democrats. That means everybody voted for Democrat. How silly do you have to be for your number to be 13? How you 13? How your number 13? 13 to 85. What are y'all smoking? The crack epidemic has residual effects. And her brain don't know the difference. This is pretty fair, except them. So it ain't no clear racial divide. Black folks are the only ones that's outliers. Roll it.
Trump, as opposed to who voted for Kamala Harris. It's very clear. It's not only clear by race, but it's also clear by education. And so the notion somehow that is not true, this is by education.
Education. That tells you the more education you get, the stupider you get. That's what it proves to me. It don't prove that you smarter with higher education. You just stupider. Most of the people in America that never went to college, these are your entrepreneurs. These are your hardworking people that work every single day of the week, and they the ones keep everything going. Most of these people are truck drivers and everything else. They didn't have to go to college. They can't see the mouse? Oh, okay. So y'all can see that number at the top. I don't have to, y'all can see the statistics, then pop me back in the screen. So y'all can see the stats. So we already seen them. Can they see the mouse now? No. Oh, they never see the mouse. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Y'all can't never see the mouse. I can point right here. These people, hardworking, everyday people that had to go out and grind and get it. They did not have the money to go waste in college and universities. They had to work a trade, and they did it from a very young age. They didn't go to college, and they didn't need to go to college. You go down here, attended college but received no degree. That's people that gave it a try, but they realized, I ain't got time for this. I got to go get a real job. Associate's degree. These are people that are saying, I worked and I got something on paper to get this little job, but I understand the American dream does not mean that I have to get a bachelor's degree. Then you get indoctrinated. The indoctrination camps start kicking in. As you notice, the more educated, educated, the more they vote for Democrats. Have you put that in perspective? The more you get exposed to college, the dumber you get, and the more you turn into a leftist nut job. That's just my opinion on it. Somebody can disagree with me. So Sonny Holston, with her raggedy butt, believe that this is somehow a negative towards Trump supporters. No, it just tells you that the institutions are brainwashing the F out of you. That's what it's telling you. Roll it.
Those who attended college voted for her at a higher degree than those that didn't.
But I think
I've said that.
his point.
Let me just finish. And so I've said that before, and there was so much backlash because I think it's an uncomfortable, inconvenient truth about
But
this
his
country.
whole point is they didn't vote for him because of racism and misogyny. They voted for him because they felt like, I think the biggest common denominator in this election is people want a good life and ability to provide for their family.
Well,
Whether we agree or not with Donald Trump's plans,
Black people
they thought that he was reflective.
One of the poorest demographics in this country, but they voted for Kamala Harris.
But there was a split, and more of them voted for Donald Trump than had historically. I think that there's such a desire. If you really think the vast majority of this country voted because of racism and misogyny, you're missing it. Most of my family, a lot of my family doesn't have college degrees.
But the stats are the stats.
But that's not, it doesn't say I'm white, I voted for Donald Trump because of racism. That's not what stat. What stat are you talking about?
Let me just dissect.
Yes, you can. There's a lot
Hold on. Calm down. Everybody just take a breath. Take a breath.
Well,
take a beat.
Well, let me jump in here because I think, Sonny, what you say is valid. And I think absolutely that is part of the problem. But when we hang our hat on that's the only problem or
no
the
one's
main.
saying it's the only.
I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying the backlash is that when people hang their hat on that being the only reason, any criticism of Vice President Harris must be because she's a woman or she's black. I voted for Hillary Clinton, not because she was a woman, she was the most qualified. I voted for Vice President Kamala Harris because more of my values fell in line with what she stood for. So all of that can be true. There is something here to the socioeconomic class, though, that is crossing racial divide in academic and education, too. Americans with a college degree 30 years ago were roughly 20% of the population and held the same percentage of household wealth as those without a degree. Yeah. 30 years later, this is important, Americans with a college degree account for 38% of the population and 73% of the household wealth. The haves and the have-nots have gone so far apart that they are rising up right now, and they cross every line of our democracy.
Okay, can I?
All right, hold on a second. Let me, before this dummy start talking, let me just address this real quick. This is the problem with statistical data points. It tells you absolutely nothing. It confirms your own bias. Because just because you have a bachelor's degree doesn't mean you have a bachelor's degree in the same thing. People go to school and get a degree in family studies and arts. That's nothing compared to you getting a bachelor's degree in something that you actually use. Because the bottom line is that when you go to school to get a degree, the question is the effectiveness of the degree. Are you using it? Are you using it and making money off of it? Or did you just go to get a degree to say you got a degree? And then, how much debt are you in? I mean, all this other stuff is factors that conclude to the fact that you may have a degree, but you may be living worse off than a person with no degree. Because the person with no degree didn't want to got a job, and then you looking for a job, and their experience supersede anything you learned at a university. And then every university is not created equal. You get a degree from ASU versus getting a degree from University of Arizona. ASU, you ain't gonna go nowhere in life. Y'all know we rivals, right? So ASU, you might as well not went to school. You go to U of A, you get a great education. All right? So, yeah, I'm joking, but you get what I'm saying. You go to Penn State, you go to some prestigious university, your bachelor's degree or your master's degree have a heavier weight. You go to Eller College at the University of Arizona for finances, it holds a higher weight. And so college, it's not all equal even in that sense. And then if you get an associate's degree or you had some college, what does that even mean? Did you go in person? Was that online? Was that 40 years ago or was that 10 years ago? It gives no gravitas to the argument by just throwing out statistical data points. And the funny thing is that they did not show the percentage of black people who were educated and how they voted. Because when you look at black folks, you say, well, black educated folks may have voted for Republicans more than black non-educated folks. But that's not in the argument. The argument is just education and who voted for who. It doesn't say what demographic voted for what. And so it's a lot of factors there that I think they're not identifying. Roll it.
Look, go ahead. I think most people are not saying that it was all about sexism and it was all about racism. Right. Most people are not saying that. I would say to Bill Maher, who I like, whose show I've been on several times, that maybe, just maybe, when you live life as a woman and as a woman of color, you feel it and you know it a little bit more than a white man does in America. And so I'm not saying,
Hold on. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. I'm talking. How do you know what a white man is experiencing? You ain't a white man. They love to throw this out there and say, well, you don't know what it's like to be a minority in this country. You don't know what it's like. I go through this, I go through this. How do you know what white people go through? You ain't in their shoes. How you know they don't get stopped at a store because they white? Y'all don't know. You ain't in their shoes. You don't know what it feel like to be a white person. But yet you can project that you know that they're not experiencing what you're experiencing. Or you know that they're having a better experience than you having. How do you know that and you ain't white? Oh, because some white guy that want to sleep with you and told you that one day on a date. Come on, man. Or somebody that's kissing your butt because they're a liberal lunatic. I don't know what it's like. I mean, I know what it's like to be a human being. I know what it's like to be a man. I know what it's like to work hard. I know what it's like to be in environments that transcend the color of your skin. But if you want to go with the color of your skin, if a white guy don't know what it's like to be a black man in America, then I equally don't know what it's like to be a white man in America. And although I may feel like, and I don't feel this way, but I'm saying if I did feel like that people are prejudiced against me and it's harder for me to make it in life, how do I know the white man isn't experiencing the same thing? How would I know that? I'm assuming that I'm experiencing something, and I'm assuming I know his experience. When I was a cop, I was one of the most educated people on the department. A lot of these white guys didn't have an education. You don't need a GED to be a cop. I would argue that a lot of them did go to college to some degree, but a lot of them didn't. And I was more educated than a lot of them. 100% of the black people that worked at Tucson Police Department all had bachelor's degrees or higher. 100% of the black people on the police department. That wasn't true for the white people in the police department. So are we privileged? You get what I'm saying? If you put a statistical data out, you will say that the black people had 100% college and the white people didn't. That mean they're dumber than us? No, those things don't really give a good illustration of the truth. But I don't know what a white man dealing with. And to be honest, man, I got white friends, and I feel like our experiences are very similar. People don't care. Like, I go to the little coffee place, and they give me coffee and stuff, and like, I don't think they treat me good. And there ain't a black face in the city but mine, and maybe another guy that played in the NFL down the street. But they don't treat me any different. I go to the bank. Oh, Officer Tatum, man, I love you, man. I follow you on social media. They treat me good. Even when people don't know who I am, I yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and they treat me fine. I travel all over the country. I go to hotels all over the country. I've stayed everywhere. I've been a lot of places. I've been in black communities, white communities. I've been all over the country. I've been to even with the Israel and with the France. When I was in France, I didn't think people treated me differently because I was black. I didn't get any of that. It's really the lens that you look through. If somehow you think that white people are treating you bad, you're gonna see it everywhere. Like, I have a couple instances where stuff happened and I'm like, is this person treat me like this because I'm black? But then I have to go back and look at it and say, man, why would I go down that path? I have no idea what this person is not waving at me when I wave at them when I'm driving by. How do I know they waved at the white man behind me? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta live your life and understand there's nuances, and people have a lot of stuff that they go through, and you're not unique. Somebody could be having a bad day, that's why they didn't wave at you. It don't have to be nefarious. You know, maybe somebody thought you was somebody else. You know, I had a lady, I was at the bowling alley, and I swear this lady looked at me and she just stared at me. The lady looked at me and stared at me like she wanted to talk to me. You know, and people do that to me when they recognize me, and they like, oh, is that Officer Tatum? And am I really seeing Officer Tatum right here? But she did that to me, and then she was very awkward. I don't know where her disposition is. I only know the story I tell myself in my head. I didn't talk to her about it. She may have recognized me and thought I was Officer Tatum, and she's like, no, I'm definitely not going to go up to this guy because Officer Tatum live in Tucson, which I don't. But people still think I live in Tucson. So anyway, let me let this woman talk. Roll it.
That folks see everything through the lens of racism and sexism. Not everything. But if you're not seeing racism and sexism in America, then you need to clean your lenses.
But yeah.
Because, you know, so this is something that I also find interesting, that when Democrats and liberals talk about race or sexism, it's immediately labeled as identity politics, which has a negative connotation. It's a term that Republicans have coined, and it's been very effective. But when Donald Trump goes to Miami and talks to Cubans, that's not identity politics. When Donald Trump goes to Dearborn, Michigan and promises Arabs something, that's not identity politics. When he goes to Jews and promises them the opposite, that's not identity politics.
So I think it's important that we remember 2/3 of this country does not have a 4-year degree. And in fact, 38% who do live 9 years longer than those who don't. Something is happening in this country. It's a lot of my family who don't have 4-year degrees. They may not even have associate's degrees, who they're working harder than they ever have. They have multiple jobs and they can't get ahead. Kamala Harris had this great thing about $25,000 for first home buyers. That is aspirational, beyond aspirational for a lot of this country. They don't have the credit. They don't have the money to match the other $25,000. This is a real divide here. And when they're told, you know what, we do care about border security, not because we're xenophobic, but because the country is paying more money to house and to help those people.
Then why are the Republicans against giving people a living wage? Why is the Republican Party constantly against $15?
I'm generally for a minimum wage, but a lot of these folks who work at small businesses, not the big corporations, are smart enough to know if there's 50 people at my shop and they raise the minimum wage, a lot of us are losing our jobs. They get that. They don't want a handout. They want a chance to get ahead.
No, and nobody wants a handout. That's why when people started talking about welfare years ago, it's like you weren't talking to people who were on welfare. Yeah. Nobody wants to be on welfare. Yeah. Nobody wants to be down. Everybody wants a leg up. We all want to do better for our families. There's not a person, black, white, male, female, who doesn't want that for the family. I like what you said, because as a woman, I see things differently. As a black woman, I see things and hear things differently. I hear when people don't believe that there's an issue. I hear it.
And there is an issue.
And there is an issue. So, but let us just say, you know, I'm glad to hear them sort of saying, yes, we want our police to come when we call them. Because I do recall asking the question why nobody who was running in none of the ads from the other side did they talk about. They talked about what somebody said, but they never talked about what they were going to do and how the police were affected January 6th. They didn't talk about all the destruction that was done. If you care about the cops, you care about all the cops and making them better. Not just a couple. You care about all of them, making them better. We're gonna be talking about this for quite some time.
4 years.
I have no crystal ball, so I don't know how long we're going to do it, but we're doing it today.
Oh, thank God they're done. Oh, my goodness. These women are just terrible women. They're terrible. They couldn't put no smart ones on there. The wasted face finally said something normal today. But, you know, I think it's very interesting when they capitulate and peacock and do all this old crazy stuff, trying to make themselves seem more virtuous than they are. You know, America is not a racist place. I have never experienced true racism in this country. Some people probably did stuff to me I wouldn't know, and I don't give a flying flip. You do something to me and discriminate against me, I'm going to sue you. Or you're going to go to jail if you do something against me and you commit a crime against me because of the color of my skin. Them days are gone. Them days are far gone. I ain't never had a problem. I live around nothing but white people ever since I've been in Tucson. Ever since I've been in Arizona. I ain't never had, if white people was just so racist against black people, I would have so many negative racial encounters in Arizona. It's like the population in Arizona is like 5% black. I'm around nothing but white people everywhere I go. I think the community I live in, I don't even think there's no black people in our community. Maybe there's one. No, I don't think it's a single black person living in my entire community. I live in a gated community. And there's a lot of houses in there. I don't think not one black person there. We had a Halloween party, and I was the only black person in the whole community because I seen everybody, kids, come by the house, and then we went to a little adult party, and ain't no black people there but me. And I ain't never thought about it. I've never one time thought I'm black and everybody else is not black. Man, I'm just like everybody else, man. We talk about the same. We like football, and we watch this. We like the same stuff. Why I got to be different because I'm a little more tan than I ain't never thought of that. I go to my gym. The gym I go to, all my friends are white. And, you know, there's a couple black guys in there that I'm cool with, but some of the guys I'm closest to are white. I ain't never not one time do we be like, oh, you white, I'm black. I mean, no, when we like football. We like politics. We all conservative. You know, there's no difference between us. We all love America. One of my good friends, Dustin, he always commenting in here saying something crazy. But, you know, he served in this country honorably. You know, what you say? No, I don't think he's in there. He served the country honorably. We got that in common. You know, I served as a police officer. He served in the Army. We both love our country. Like, what's the difference? I remember when I was on the police department, or when I was playing football, we never had any problems. We would joke about racial stuff. I remember when I was a cop, my homeboy joking brought watermelon and fried chicken to the squad dinner, and we thought it was so funny. It was the funniest thing ever because me and him are really good friends and we have fun. And as a joke, he brought a watermelon and some fried chicken and a grape Kool-Aid. And he one-upped me. And so I was trying to find something to do when I bring my food for him. Ain't nobody, you know, we weren't tripping on that stuff, man. We were not tripping on no racial stuff. It's a joke to us nowadays because people don't care about that. We put our life on the line together. We literally go into houses with guns drawn, potentially going to die, and I trust him with my life, and he trusts me with his life, and we joke, and we tell, we do things like that. But anyway, I'm getting ready to, let me see. We had some more stuff to talk about, Nick? Let me take a quick break to answer some super chats, and then we'll probably get to a few more things before we get out here. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Hit the like button. I think we should have more likes than we do views at this point. Let me get to a few super chats real quick. I appreciate y'all super chatting. It's a lot of them. I'm just going to go with the yellow ones, or the ones that are yellow. I love the rest of y'all, but I can't read them all day. Let's see. Charles, thanks so much for super chat. Do you believe Alex Jones about the globalists, Soros, Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum? I think you're behind. Let's see. I think they're behind this, purposefully trying to ruin the West. I don't think it's nothing to believe or not believe. I think it's clear. They've already stated their position on this stuff. Okay, I'll try to get everybody. We don't have a lot of them, so I'm going to try to get everybody. Doc said it is all about the billions of dollars of natural resources. The lobbyists want their share, and Putin wants it back because NATO took it back. 100%. I heard that it seemed like Putin is on the right side of this, but I could be totally wrong. That don't make him a good person or not. I don't know. It just seemed like he's on the right side of this, but I could be totally wrong. Anyway, why now? When they wait till someone is on the come up to report these things, it makes them less credible. Yeah, he was talking about Peter Hegseth, or Pete Hegseth, the girl making an accusation against him now that he's, in Trump's cabinet. Now all of a sudden he would let's bring this thing up. She took money for it. He paid her to shut up because she was going to ruin his reputation because nobody will believe you even if you say I didn't do it. Let's see. They're trying to steal the election. There's a post by Elon Musk, and there was a paper shredder truck where they're counting the votes. And I guess he's talking about in Pennsylvania. I wouldn't be shocked. Charles, I already read that one. Darren, I read that one. Appreciate you, Darren. HGT says we have to stop the black and white BS. We all bleed red. We are Americans, period. The division must stop. And I agree 1,000%. I agree 1,000% on that, because it's okay to acknowledge that we come from different backgrounds and we may have different cultural things, but at the end of the day, we're all one. The view is so BS. We need Trump in ASAP, 100%. Counsel the view. A arts or communications degree means you're smart, ? Hey, wanted to update you on the Lakin trial. It's still continuing tomorrow, even though they found the dummy's DNA under her fingernails. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what they're looking for. I think some of it is circumstantial. Some of it is a DNA match, and the 911 call. I don't think they can. There's no reason for his DNA to be under her fingernails. End of story. Guilty. You know what I'm saying? Illegal in this country, guilty. Pastor Burnett here, and I agree. White people I live around have been very kind and mind their business. Make it make sense. We actually share a lot in common. 100%. I don't know white people that give me a problem, man. The same stupid white people give me a problem as stupid black people that give me a problem. Pastor Burnett was live in a too sensitive society, and mainly it's men, sad to say. 100%. Let's see. You are a token. Chica Go is I don't even know what this is. And their law proves we are one race. Thank you for the super chat. But yeah, I ain't never been around white people that were mean to me. And some people are just stupid. So you get stupid people, and they come in all colors and genders. They can't drive. They in the fast lane. They in the HOV lane, going 10, 15 miles per hour under the speed limit with one person in the car during the peak hours. And they look at you crazy when you go around them. Like, what are you doing? If I wasn't a Christian, I'd run you off the road and make your car flip over. and then drive up to you and spit on you. That's how crazy I feel when I'm in the car driving and somebody do that. I'm driving, going somewhere, they in the fast lane. Just a shell of a human being. Just like, dude, get over. What are you doing? Cars are honking at you. Everybody's driving around you. Do you not get the picture? The sign says $400 fine. From this hour to this hour, it got to be 2 people in the car. You pass that sign 400 times. Lady in the fast lane on her phone. Ma'am, the semi truck is going faster than you. Can you switch 2 lanes? You ain't going nowhere. Every car that's on the freeway has passed you once. Are you that ditzy? Are you just don't know what's going on in the world? You don't know to get over? Ma'am, you finna get off on the exit, 2 exits down, and you in the fast lane going slow, and then you gonna try to get all the way over here. And you can't. Now you gotta stop in the middle of the freeway to try to get past the semi truck. I love the Lord, but Lord, sometimes I don't know what you done to some of these people. They stupid in the mud. Anyway, is it the Tom Holman clip? We talked about this yesterday. We got something new to it? Yeah, let's I guess we could talk about it. Y'all want to talk about Tom Holman and the immigration thing? Maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. Maybe there's some new stuff that'll come out tomorrow. But I'll say this. Maybe we'll come up tomorrow and we'll give some Lake and Raleigh commentary too, because that trial is ongoing. We'll do that tomorrow. I want to talk real quick about this Chicago mayor. Like, Brandon Johnson is a disgrace in Chicago. I just don't understand how that man keep a job. Who is voting for this guy? These slick talking snake oil salesmen. You know, I wish that black men that look this prestigious were actually smart. And there's a guy behind me that's actually talking, so you'll hear him talking because he's at the press corps asking Brandon Johnson questions. I wish that I could see a black man up there and be proud of him because he's a good man. Not because I agree with him or not, because he's a good man. And he's actually trying to do something right by his being the mayor of his city. He's trying to do the right thing. But instead, these dudes are snake oil salesmen. They taking lavish trips. Young black men are laying face down as we speak in Chicago. And they worry about illegal aliens instead of stopping the crime that is going on in Chicago for decades now. The murder capital of the country by number is Chicago. By per capita is Ferguson, Missouri, St. Louis, Missouri. Then it was Baltimore, Maryland, where all the black people live. So let's play a clip of Brandon Johnson getting schooled by that guy. Chicago, this guy, in my opinion. Roll it.
Are very alarmed that at a time when Chicago is clearly fighting for its financial survival, that you're out of state campaigning for Kamala Harris. You are defending Little Dirk. This is your priority. You and your wife Stacy have a 200+ CPD police security detail when real Chicagoans are obviously afraid and victims of violent crime. And of course, they feel that you are taxing them into financial slavery to pay for migrants. The exact amount of this tax increase that you're proposing is, I think, to the penny, what you've already given to one of the migrant vendors. The migrant vendor named Favorite Healthcare Staffing, not to mention all the other migrant vendors. Wouldn't it make more sense for your tax increase to simply be called a migrant tax on Chicagoans?
Well, if you could just do me a favor, the next time you refer to my wife, refer to her as the First Lady. prefer that you not remain so familiar with her that way.
Right.
Okay.
The
Thank
First
you.
Lady, and you
All
have
right,
a security detail of
I got you.
200
Thank you.
plus.
I've heard your question.
Hold on a second. This is a tactic from the snake oil salesman, pastor-esque Brandon Johnson. To bring up your wife and what somebody calls her as First Lady, all this stuff is superfluous. Who cares? The dude is bringing up a point about the Chicagoan people and what they're suffering through, and you want your wife to be called First Lady. It's not the time to do that. You can address this reporter afterwards, but you need to answer his questions about what the American people, or at least the Chicagoans, are concerned about. Roll it.
Just saying thank you for respecting my wife that way.
Right.
As far as the detail is concerned, there are 4 mayors. The detail operation reflects all of the mayors, past and present. The particular portion of my detail is not the size in which you've described. I believe it's less than 30 or so. That there are shifts that are ran, and like every other mayor, that detail is appropriated according to again what every other mayor has had. As far as what this budget is about investing in people. And what's clear in this budget is that we are investing in youth and workforce. And at a time in which, unfortunately, there has been a great deal of real mean-spirited attacks against young black and brown children.
When you say mean-spirited attacks against young black youth,
yeah, so
are you talking about the carjackers or the armed robbers? What I mean, or are you just talking about every young black child in the city of Chicago? I'm not sure what you're referring to.
You're not?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay. Well, there's black and brown children in this city who I'm going to invest in,
and
that's who I'm referring
dying
to.
in larger. They're being shot and murdered. I'm sorry, and
thank you for your question.
Why aren't you worried about their safety?
Thank you for your question.
Have you are you enjoying your raise? Any chance of giving us a comment?
Mr. Kelly, please.
What?
Please.
What?
Mr. Kelly.
Well, it seems like there's a real pattern in the Johnson administration of members of his administration making outrageous comments like your "fuck the pigs" comment.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Please give her a moment. She's not.
Give her a moment. There are police officers who are committing suicide. They're not, and we have a lot of police officers that are quitting.
Thank you for joining.
We're very understaffed.
Now, shout out to that brother. He should be a press secretary one day. I love what he said because these people need to get called out. The police department did not want Brandon Johnson at the police funeral. When police officers feel that way about you, it's because you've betrayed them. If anybody in the government system calls police officers effing pigs, that person should resign immediately. That is degrading a fellow coworker, and I think that's unacceptable. You can't disparage another person that you're working with in the public sphere unless you don't want a job. Because then what happens, it becomes tribal. And then the person that you work for is controlling the money, and they start taking money from police officers based on your comment. Then now we're in trouble. I'm sick of these people. And my wife tells me that she don't want me to run for office. But it's going to become a point in time where I'm like, I'm sick of, just like Trump and everybody else, I'm sick of these people. I'm sick of us having weak candidates to start with. I'm sick of people not standing up for Jesus Christ, number 2. And I'm sick of people not being authentic and real. I'm sick of it. You got a person like Brandon Johnson out here just talking good. These black men know how to talk, boy. They know how to swindle. And I'm not saying all of them. I'm saying the ones that are scammy. Reverend Al Sharpton, for I don't know how many, dude ain't never did a sermon in his life, and somehow he still retained the title as a reverend. Reverend Jesse Jackson. You can't find a sermon nowhere. You can't find a baptism nowhere. He probably did it 100 years ago. That dude is not even associated with doing anything for the church. But they show is race hustling. And this is what they stand on. But they know how to talk you good. They know how to say things to you, make you sound, they sound professional. Oh, no, that's what all the mayors get. The crux of what the man is asking is that you guys are taxing the public to deal with illegal immigration. And you have young black men who can't even read and dying in the streets through gang violence and fear and PTSD. How do you think these young men going to go off and be successful in life when they're afraid to go outside in some of these neighborhoods? And these are little kids that are afraid of getting smoked when they go outside. Not even because they're involved, because they're getting caught in the crossfire. You think you see your friend get shot in the head in front of you when you're 10 years old. You think that doesn't retain PTSD? Every day you come out of the house, you don't know whether or not you're going to come home or not, or your friend going to come home, your mama going to get killed or raped or robbed, y'all going to get robbed. You thinking of that you live with that trauma every day and you don't think that affects you going to school? Your daddy ain't there. I mean, when are we going to start focusing on them kids? When are we going to start focusing on their needs? When are we going to start promoting that we need to put some financial structure in place that can help these fathers get back in the home, or put some mentor programs together for young people whose daddies are deadbeats? That's more important than illegals. Send them back. Get these young men out that mindset. All right. I was going to let it go. I was going to let it go because I'm live, but y'all tripping. Let me do this because I want to make this clip, Nick, because I kind of got reinvigorated and wanted to talk about it. I want to talk about the border real quick because Tom Homan, in the notes that we got here, is that Tom Homan fires back at Democrat governors vowing to block Trump from deporting migrants. Now, I don't know how much power the federal government has against states for not cooperating in federal affairs. Because if we just say we were trying to block the border off from foreign enemies and then Texas just let the border stay wide open and let as many enemies in, like what does the federal government do? You got to have a recourse. The federal government has to have jurisdiction over the border. So let me read some stats real quick, and then we're going to go to Tom Homan's video. It says 2024 ends with nearly 3 million inadmissible encounters, bringing the total encounters to 10 million since 2021. Since the start of fiscal year 2021, in October of 2020, Customs and Border Protection has recorded more than 10 million encounters nationwide, including more than 8.72 million at the southwest border. Of the 2.9 million nationwide encounters in fiscal year 2024, 46% were at port of entry, while only 15% nationwide encounters were at port of entries in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in an existential crisis in America, and we better get out together. Tom, take it away.
Real quickly, what happens to a mayor or a local police department chief that is under Democratic leadership that obstructs ICE in your federal agents that are helping get these deportations? What happens to them?
Well, first of all, if they don't want to help us get the hell out of the way, we're going to do it. If I got to send twice the amount of resources to that city, that's what we're going to do. If they would give us access to the jail, that would mean less agents in the community. For them pushing back and not letting us in the jail, it just means more agents are going to be in the community, so they're hurting themselves. Finally, I'll say this. They need to educate themselves. They need to review this. Title 8, United States Code 1324, III. Read about that and don't cross that line, because it is a felony to harbor and conceal an illegal alien from ICE. Read the statute, don't cross that line.
That's a warning from Tom Homan right there.
I don't want it to just be a warning. I want people to go to jail. These mayors and these people are harboring illegal aliens intentionally. And then they go out and hurt somebody. And knowingly and intentionally harboring illegal aliens that then go out and kill somebody, you should be held vicariously responsible for it. So I want to play the clip of Katie Hobbs that's in the state of Arizona. Before I start the clip, Katie Hobbs is the most disgusting, disgraceful governor in the entire United States of America. Before she put the picture up there, she is the most disheveled governor that I've ever seen. Every time you see Katie Hobbs, look like she just got out of bed getting beat up all night. And I'm not talking about in a good way. All right, put her up on the screen. Don't she? Well, she may got her hair creased this time, but every time you see her, she looked like she just came from a Halloween party or something. Roll the clip.
When hearing about the Trump administration's plans for border security, the emphasis really is on this mass deportation. What we saw here today is the actual work happening at our ports of entry that are interdicting drugs, keeping those drugs off our streets. And we need more of that to secure the border here.
As you know, Trump has promised that he would carry out mass deportations on day one of his presidency. Your state is estimated to have 250,000 undocumented immigrants. Some Democrats in your state, like Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego, say that she wouldn't allow police to be used to carry out this plan. Would you, as governor, allow state police and National Guard to carry out mass deportations?
We will not be participating in misguided efforts that harm our communities, and I've been incredibly clear about that.
So you disagree with mass deportations and the fact that the president-elect says that's what he's going to be working on day one?
Well, I think that those efforts are going to divert needed resources that we need here on these drug interdiction and smuggling and trafficking efforts to keep harm out of our communities. We need those resources here, and the coming here today and seeing this operation firsthand just underscores that working in partnership here is how we can best secure the border.
What would worry you the most, Governor, about mass deportations?
Well, I think the diversion of law enforcement from the work that they do every day to keep our communities safe. People hiding in fear. We saw that under previous state policies here, and it harms communities. It tears families apart, and that's not gonna happen on my watch.
That's why women shouldn't, let me not say that. I almost said that's why women shouldn't lead. Look how silly she is. Look how silly this woman is. She can't even say or have a articulable response without saying, She can't give a straight answer. Not one time did she give a straight answer. Just say that we will not accept deportations, and that's it. It will resources. Tom Homan just said he's going to send as much resources that we need in order to accomplish this. You have people in the state of Arizona with deportation orders, and you feel like you don't have to send them back. Deportation orders, sheportation orders. Who cares? It's the same difference. Come on, man. Y'all got to get it together. All right, we got some more clips on here. The Illinois governor, Pritzker. Listen to this. I almost called him fat. I'm not going to call him fat. Roll the clip.
Chicago. Governor Pritzker, thank you for being here. Let's talk about that. Can the state of Illinois prevent the federal government from building internment camps, a.k.a. what they're calling detention facilities in Chicago?
Well, we have prohibited by law in the state of Illinois the use of any of our existing county jails or prisons for the purpose of rounding people up and detaining them.
All right, you get the gist of what he's saying. The internment camp. She should go to prison for saying it on TV. She's just done, creating chaos and confusion for no reason. Ain't no way in the world you can create an internment camp. These people are so stupid to me. Scott Jennings did a really good job going out against Jake Tapper on this very topic. So we got 2 clips from Scott Jennings. We're going to play both of those clips. Let's start with the first one. Roll it.
I think a few things. Number one, Donald Trump was elected to do this. He ran on it, made it clear what he wanted to do. The American people voted for it. And so some people are watching this going, thank God, a politician who's planning to follow through on their promises. Number two, there's like 1.3 to 1.6 million illegal immigrants who've already received deportation orders from a court. I think you could start there. Number three, there's another population of people who are violent. You could also go there before you ever get to people who are sort of working in industries. And maybe during the course of all that time, maybe, just maybe, the Congress and the White House could figure something out about how to balance our illegal immigration crisis with the need for agricultural labor. Final point, I don't remember anybody having these kinds of meltdowns when Barack Obama deported 5 million people. It is not uncommon for the executive branch to deport illegal immigrants. It happens in every administration. Obama deported more than most, and I don't remember any of this kind of meltdown, and the crisis has only gotten worse. So I think Donald Trump's doing the right thing, and most Republicans would agree it is a national emergency. Well, I think, number one, there was some polling during the election, I think CBS News conducted it, indicating that a majority of Hispanic Americans wanted Donald Trump to do mass deportations, that they had come here, they had gone through the legal process, they had become citizens, and they didn't like the idea of huge scores of illegal immigrants coming across every day. Look at some of the counties in Texas along the border that are majority Hispanic, and the changeover from Biden to Trump. It is a crisis in the Hispanic community. The people who have come here legally, the people here are following all the laws and all the rules. They're living in some of the communities that are the hardest hit. And so I agree that they also believe in Donald Trump's economic message, because most Hispanic Americans are working class Americans, and the working class did flow towards Donald Trump. They're living in the communities that are the hardest hit by illegal immigration and the societal and governance impacts that it brings. And so I think they want him to do something about both. I don't think the two issues are mutually exclusive.
Get that man a raise. Give him a raise. And maybe he'll be press secretary next. Give him a raise. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys coming on live. Every day we'll try to do this. When do we start, at 2? Yeah. We'll try to get here at 2 p.m. Arizona time. That's 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That will be, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're going to try to be consistent. This seems like a comfortable place for us. I can still get to my son's football game or basketball games if I got dinner. Nick, when he goes on dates, because he go on a date every night with a different girl. No, I'm just playing. Ladies don't. I was just joking. So if you date Nick, he don't. He's a good kid. I need to get him on more dates, all right? If you want to date him, his resume is open. Don't come playing no games, all right? Don't play no game. He's a good man. He got a good car. He got a house. He got a good job with benefits. Come on, women. What y'all playing with? All right. All right, Nick. I didn't mean to embarrass you like that, but we may get a resume. We're accepting resume. Go to careers and put your resume in for Nick. No, I'm just playing. Don't go to my career page talking about you want to be with Nick. I should set something up like that. Hey, look, I got good people around here. My executive assistant, she's single too. Good woman. Good candidates out here. Put your resume in. Let me see what your track record look like, and I will approve or not. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'll see y'all on the next one, man. Y'all come to the live stream, watch the videos, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, get you some merch. Tomorrow we're going to have Black Friday sale, so I ain't going to even pitch nothing today. You just wait till tomorrow. We're going to do a Black Friday sale, and we have a new shirt that we're getting ready to launch that I know that all of y'all going to buy up, and you end up getting it on Black Friday. It's insane. Anyway, I love you guys. God bless you. We out of here.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.